we got ourselves a best of 3 on our hands, and we've got some phenomenal teams to cover. And first map, of course, going to be Bind, and for the startup here, it will be Sentinels on the defense and Gen.G on attack. Now, this is the side selection that Sentinels chose, and for the following 2 maps, it'll be Gen.G on defense back to back. But let's just focus on Bind, and let's see how this pistol kicks us off.
I mean, Bind is a map that Gen.G really likes to play. Currently boasting an incredibly high win rate, right around 80% of their matches that are currently being tracked. And then on the opposite side, Sentinels up there as well, 75%, but less sample size. Only 8 games currently being tracked by the Spike compared to 14 for Gen.G. We'll see if that has an effect as they use the Owl to lead them in towards Hookah. The Frenzy in the hands of Gen.G's Guimon. He's going to go ahead and toss the Flame Wall out. And in comes the curveball as well. No, doesn't decide to toss it. The Molly comes down, and it's great work from zombs sitting inside the cubby, able to pick off 2 with the classic. Sinatra's there with the Frenzy as well. It's all falling apart here for Gen.G. As you've got one on the site, try and get that Spike down. It'll be a 2-on-3.
Ooh, the peek out the tuna can, but it's Dapr from Hookah. He's going to take out his alter ego, MkaeL, and now it's all down to Huynh on the Sova, trying to make things work for himself. The Spike looking to go down here, but they're just playing cat and mouse with him, trying to get him to peek around the corner, and it's sick. Talked earlier on how he just likes to click on heads. Well, he's starting off the first round doing exactly just that. The round going over to the defense, and now they'll either force up on some SMGs. Sometimes what we'll see is they'll keep with the pistol, and you'll actually see a player, usually the operator, obviously, the operator player, will actually get an op third round because they don't invest in the SMG here. They rely on the rest of the team to pick up. You're seeing Sick and Dapr still deciding whether they want to invest or not, but ShahZaM usually the operator for the team buying that Bulldog.
That's a little bit of an interesting approach. Michael going to toss that cam out. Instantly gets taken out by Zombs, who's over in U-Haul. And as a result, looks like Gen.G is going to tuck tail and turn a different direction. You've got this aggressive play coming out from the likes of Sentinels right now. ShahZaM is here with the Bulldog, and it's time to open fire. Somehow only picks off 1, shouldering the weapon and going with burst fire, but Sinatraa is here, and oh, this should be time to punish. Only 2 kills as he decides to back off due to the damage dealt by the pistols. So they're inflicting some pain by taking these weapons away. Dapr also very low, 7 HP, as the Bulldog gets closer and closer. Tap shot's not on the money for Effys, as Sick will get the best of him in the exchange. PL1 does drop Zombs, but it's down to 1 here. But Dapr is so close to death and had to take that portal. It's all on the stage. So now it's going to be a 1-on-1. It's PL1 with the Spectre and the Spike on the B site. And I think Dapr's got 7 HP.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of hear him creeping, crawling. Of course, player 1 doesn't know! Dapr! Okay, yes, they ended up winning that round, but it's still going to be an expensive one for the defense. Like that, you know, for Gen.G, they came in with nothing, and now they will have the economy to buy the weapons that they want, the weapons that they need. But for the defense, really expect them to start to struggle here a little bit, as that was a pretty heavy force up for them. We even saw a Bulldog purchased on ShahZaM, so that means that they were really reaching far and deep into their pockets. So not really going to have a lot here, and for the opposite side, they're going to be guns blazing, and it looks like a setup towards A to kick us off.
Yeah, Huynh's got a long shock dart. Kind of curious to see where that one's going to land. We've seen a couple of those long-range shock darts that land towards U-Haul. There's the portal coming in from Sinatraa. Uses the curveball to lead around the corner, and Sick gets aggressive and showers at the same time. That's an excellent play, using that Phoenix ult to run it back to bring things to a 4-on-3. There's the res as well coming out on the brim, so it's a 2-player advantage very quickly in this round. We're at 1:15. And Gen.G is looking to try and bring things back in their favor if they can. They've gotten short control, and they've got a wall down, but the wall has a gap, and Zom's likely to punish with it. Nope, never mind. Zombs decides to go back towards site. Huyhn's going to be locking down the U-Haul. A second wall comes in from the Sage. Spike going to be planted. Off positioning coming in from PL1 as to not get spammed. But as that happens, he will fall. It's all up to the Sage. Effys in the U-Haul. First one will be his to take. Can't get the follow-up onto ShahZaM. A nice rebound on the round for Sentinels, given that they did lose quite a bit in the previous round. They're able to bounce back with this and upgrade a couple of the guns as well.
Fuck, that was a broken buy for the Sentinels. Yes, I think I saw it was Sinatraa with a Phantom. Okay, but not everybody had the weaponry that they wanted. Some of them even not having armor in that engagement on the push towards A. And so Gen.G, of course, they were looking for a default setup, smokes on the truck, and then the wall down. But Sentinels read that like a book. They sprayed that wall down the moment it went up. And then for the side of player one, he was trying to get to the back corner, and he was taken care of immediately. Great communication from the Sentinels. And that means that Gen.G's on another pistol round, and Sentinels, they might have another round on the docket for them.
Sinatraa goes for that aggro peek. Eerily gets punished, dropped down to 35 HP, has to back off. Obviously has the capability to self-heal as the Phoenix. Gen.G continuing to stick around on the B site, using Huyhn's Owl drone to try to get some intel on the site. Dapr opening up the Phantom, but again, no kills coming out just yet, just damage dealt on both sides. Sick is here. It's 4 players on this B site playing defense for Sentinels. As they continue to get closer and closer, the only one currently playing on A is the Brim. Should they decide to go for something a little bit crazy, like a portal strat, it might benefit them, but decide to stick around and Gimon's going to get one. You've got the wall going down, but it doesn't seem to be making too much of a difference as ShahZaM actually managed to pick one off in the meantime. Sick now trying to escape inside that smoke. The wall being broken by ShahZaM. Another one coming in from ShahZaM as the Sova. There's one still on the site inside the tuna can. It's a 3K for ShahZaM as they stomp out yet another take from Gen.G.
Okay, listen, I get it. They won a pistol. Okay, clap, clap. Good job, Sentinels. But they read that. Like, Sinatraa peeked early. He saw so many in short. But does that mean that you pull off your whole team and leave 1A? No. But they read that. They said, okay, they're going to commit to this push towards B, and so let's stack up. Yes, they lost a couple of members along the way, and it was still a costly round for them. I think, they lost 2 players there. But they still read that. And they were doing that yesterday, and it looks like they're going to continue to that. The setup for this round, though, looks like a 2-2 split with, of course, Sick rotating back towards B. But it's these aggressive pushes for information that allow Sentinels to make the decisions in how they want to play the defensive side. So far, though, no information gathered.
Early orb control there for MkaeL as he picks it up as the Cypher is going to drop down the Cyber Cage as well. The Hunter's Fury being popped by ShahZaM sends a few pulses out. One does connect. But again, it's aggression right now coming in from Sentinels. They've got 2 players already pushed down long B, and they're a little bit slow on the rotate out. Finally, you can see the Cypher starting to come over to A to support. You've got the Brim here. The Molly goes down. Gimon leading things in with the run it back. The Owl drone right behind him actually flashes it accidentally. Gonna spot out zombs in the back of sight before eventually being snapped back into position. Deep Dart comes in. ShahZaM's gonna take care of that one as Dapr guns down from on high, but no kills, just damage being exchanged. Huynh did pick off Sick, and it's now at a 5-on-3. Nice flame wall coming out, but it doesn't stop bullets as ShahZaM guns down Effys through it. Sinatraa is there with the pickup as well. It's come down to a 3-on-2 now as PL1 is able to punish former OW pro Sinatraa.
Yeah, now ShahZaM just trying to clear out U-Haul the best that he can. And it's the 2v3. Dapr using that camera to spot in the push forwards. ShahZaM, and it's the curveball. It goes wide. Now Dapr trying to push through. It's Cypher v Cypher. MkaeL is going to be the one that comes out on top, and it's just down to the Sova. But that spike's taking the peek around the corner. Goes over to ShahZaM. Now ShahZaM just trying to stick to defuse. The shot's good onto player one, but he doesn't have enough time to defuse, and it's a round for Gen.G.
A round win, sure, but an expensive round win. Everyone dies. It's a scorched earth approach on the A site. So a bit of a punish there coming in from Gen.G. When you look at the way that Sentinels has been playing over on that B site, putting extra emphasis on the B site defense, especially in that last round. They double push B long. They still have 2 players on site, maybe waiting for a hookah push to come through. There's no one there. They're all flushed all the way out of U-Haul. Full site control basically gifted over to Gen.G. The fact that they brought it down to 1 shows that it was an impressive retake attempt coming in. Now Sick gets aggressive in showers, wants to go for that orb control, uses the wall, it's broken immediately, and Amali is placed at his exit as well, so he has to go for the heal. That's huge. Not only do they burn that wall, they burn the heal early. Here's the Hunter's Fury as well coming out from Huynh. Not actually going to do any damage except potentially to his own teammate as Effys was caught in the crosshairs. Here comes the ult from Zombs though.
Oh, nice.
The orbital strike, and it's right on the money, pulls the bomb out of position. He actually gets sucked into the port. That's a bit of a problem. problem. The Spike is now actually heading over towards B by himself.
Oh, and he's actually going to pull it all the way back and go all the way back around to A. 15 seconds left on the clock, and it's still very doable, but there is pandemonium on the site. Sinatraa with one. The Bulldog's going to start to sing as Dapr finds a second, and it's not looking good here for Gen.G. Down to 3, and they're held up in A short. The connector call means that they're going to rush over towards B. Only one tripwire available there. MkaeL likely going to be the one that has to jump through and bite the bullet on it, but now the rotation is called from the Sentinels. They're reading this, feeling like it may not be a push towards A any longer, but they're indecisive. Sinatraa goes back to spawn, and then they pull back, and then they go back and forth. And with that spike down, it means Gen.G will have full control of the site, and it's up to Sentinels for the retake.
Imagine being the Spike in this scenario. You accidentally took Portal, went to B, then rotated back to A, and then decide to rotate back to B.
Yeah.
A 3-on-3 retake, but the Brim heavily scratched up. Huynh taking down Sinatraa, waiting right around the corner on elbow, bested by ShahZaM, his Sova counterpart. It's down to a 2-on-2 now as the Molly goes in on long. There's the support coming in from the Cypher. You've got one more on the site, and now it's going to be the 1-on-1. It's PL1 against zombs. Has to go for the peek, swings wide and takes him out. One player survives yet again. Another incredibly expensive round for Gen.G, but it's another number on the board.
You know, we saw some very similar back and forth between Sentinels and Immortals yesterday. Just because one had the economic advantage did not mean it was going to be a definite round success. And we're seeing that here. You know, Eco's lost and Eco's won for both sides. And for the Sentinels, that means that they need to play a little bit more, you know, feistier. They got to get a little bit more in the face of Gen.G, and they're trying to, but these spikes go down, and I think that's where Gen.G have really shined. It's in the post plant.
Come on. Watching them as they get aggressive through the showers, and it's an exchange that actually works out favorably right now for Sentinels. Sure, the numbers are the same, but with what they brought into the round, that's a fantastic play coming in from them. There's the orbital strike, and it's good enough to take down ShahZaM, who tries to escape. You've got one waiting right around the corner. It's Sinatraa. And the smoke's actually going to give him a little bit of extra staying power as well in this position. The slow orb dissipates and now has the opportunity to escape, but wants to stick around. There's a lot of bodies waiting outside that shower. If he can time this one right, might get a decent backstab.
Yeah, they do peel off, though. Start to rotate through towards A short, and you know, quite frankly, the reason why they're playing this so safe is because Sinatra's a wild card, man. He'll come out with 2, with 3, with 4. He'll decimate your whole team if you're not careful. So they're checking every angle, even though it's been checked already. Double check. Make sure it's a triple check. Checks across the board, but the only check that they want right now is to get that spike down. Sinatraa rotating back through. His teammate has already fallen, and it's all down to him. He's got the Phantom in his hand, but can he get the job done? The smokes are obviously clouding his vision. And the rest of the teammates here from Gen.G all held up in U-Haul. If he just throws one little hot hand, he might burn them alive, but they'll obviously be able to get out of it. Maybe looking for a couple of exits here. One going to peek through. It's MkaeL. They know exactly where he is. Player 1 might start to rotate over, but he doesn't want to be anywhere near the spike. It's these members that are held up in U-Haul that are the problem. Now the Blaze Wall going to be going up. He's trying to give himself some cover, but unfortunately it's not enough. He'll use it as his own cover. The spray is good onto Huynh. Still 2 members strong, and it's the recon bolt here that is the problem. It's all up to Sinatraa to get out, but there's a Sage right behind him, behind the truck. It's Effys going to take him down and around for Gen.G.
I mean, that's just another Molly take coming in from Gen.G. You can see the way PL1 is playing that one back behind the play. He's sitting back on short, and he's just dropping that Molly down. Excellently played by Gen.G in the post plant, and also a good read. Given the way that things broke down initially with losing those players in showers, they managed to just kind of wait things out, and they stuck around a little bit longer, and it worked out quite well for them, actually. So now we'll be moving into what will be another buy round coming in for the likes of Sentinels, and we'll see if they'll be able to keep up that pace, continue to punish Sentinels for their sometimes lopsided defense. We talked about it before, sometimes sending too many players over towards B, playing hyper-aggressive, and you can see it again. ShahZaM is pushed up all the way in showers. There is a cyber cage down, so they know there's one here. It's all going to come down to timing. So they pop the cyber cage with an effort of getting showers control, and that's going to force ShahZaM and Sick out.
Like Gen.G's approach, taking Sentinels to their own game. When the Immortals matchup, when it was on bind, Sentinels controlled the orb, regardless of what side they were on. And we're seeing that in some cases, but not all the cases. It's, of course, Sentinels playing a little bit further back this time around than what we're normally used to seeing them. They play quite aggressive, but they're giving a lot more space to Gen.G this time, allowing them the opportunity to push in as GMD there, run it back, looking for anybody. The shot's going to whiff. It's MkaeL that takes out the op and play, and they will just flood onto the site, getting into both angles onto U-Haul. MkaeL taking out zombs, and a great approach from Gen.G, only down to 3 now for the Sentinels.
Spike's going to be planted on the site by Effys, and again, they'll set up for a post-plant, but it's not going to matter. Post-plant positioning means nothing when your opponent isn't even going for it. A save already being called here by Sentinels as they decide to back off and head towards that B site and hold on to the guns. You can see the molly coming out as well, just as a guarantee, and it'll pop right on top of the spike. So another solid take, this time off the back of Gimon's run it back, pushing through the showers. I do like the cyber cages that were coming in towards showers as well, acting as Drano to kind of flush out that defensive side and force them back into the site. It worked quite well. They're using these cams now over on B to make sure that they're not going to get rushed, and they are. But with that dart landing in the belly of the brim, they're kind of keeping themselves further back.
The belly of the brim, that sounds like a really... That sounds like that could be part of the trilogy for Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings in the belly of the brim. Like, I feel like that works. I feel like that has a nice ring to it. But, you know, copyright. I take a credit of that. I take a cut, 5% cut. Moving on to the next round. 4 rounds remain in the half. It's Sentinels that were able to win 4 straight. Now it's Gen.G that have had the opportunity to win 4 straight in a row. And we saw something similar yesterday against Immortals. It might just be the French-Canadian flair, you know, both teams having some French-Canadians on them. And it was Immortals that won 5 straight on Ascent yesterday, and Sentinels were able to obviously bring it back in the same half. Sinatraa doing something that he has been known to do previous, hopping through the portal with run it back. Actually won't find anybody, but it's sick that is able to swing as well into showers and find a frag as Sinatraa swings. And so it's a great play coming out from them. That'll dwindle the odds for Gen.G, but still a 4v5, very doable for the attack.
Dapr just using that cam to peek down long, but it looks like it's mostly going to be a hookah push coming in from Gen.G. You've got Huynh leading the way with the Owl drone, trying to get the intel, spotted one towards spawn. Sees the camera as well, likely to anticipate that play towards long. There's the flame wall coming out, but Sinatraa is here. There's the Hunter's Fury being popped. Great curveball coming into the tuna can. Sinatraa fully blind takes out the Sage. That's actually a huge problem. You've still got Dapr lurking on the back end, but it's Gen.G who's fought themselves back into the round, bringing it down to a 3-on-3. The spike has now been planted, and it's time for the retake. Dapr trying to use that cam, not spotting anything. Great positioning coming out from Gen.G to hide from that camera's LOS.
Still, it's going to be the aggressive push forward. Some interesting angles from Gen.G, but once the pandemonium begins, it'll be difficult for them to divide and conquer. As you can see, frags traded, and that's just down to Huynh. He's going to hop in, and it's not going to be enough. Zombs will get the better of him, and now Sentinels back in the lead by 1 round as we are nearing the end of this half. A very good plant there from Gen.G, but it was not meant to be for them.
One of the things that made that round really good from Gen.G was their positioning on the site. One of the things that made that round not so good for Gen.G was their positioning on the site. Like, yeah, they were hiding from that Cypher camera on long, but they had no one watching long because the smoke came down in hookah. All of a sudden, Huynh, who was over in hookah, couldn't do much to help out the players on site. So Dapr just walks around and trades out that initial kill as they came through from spawn. So it totally fell apart for them. Again, we're going to see that long shock dart coming in from Huynh over on the A site. They're going to get aggressive on B long as well here with Sinatraa picking up the orb. It's going to be him and Dapr pushing through. They are going to spot out the Sage, so Effys is going to have to back off from the play, but that initiates a further push coming in from the Phoenix, who's pushed up towards hookah.
Yeah, but look, there's a tripwire just in case that does happen, and GMD still waiting for the rest of his team to push forward. And we've seen Sentinels do this before, and sometimes it nets them a few frags. But look at this repositioning now from Sinatraa and Dapr. They're not even going to set up a crossfire. They're just going to push in, and there's no refrags for them. It's GMD that'll take down 2, and that might open up the B site for Gen.G.
Great openings there, but I also love the patience. Not overexerting that push towards the B site early on, waiting it out, seeing how the defense is going to react. The Owl drone leads in, taking out the tripwire. Sick is here and he hears the smokes come down, so he's going to call for the rotate. Again, we see Gimon's flame wall used as a way to get across on the site without having to deal with long. So Sick is just going to wait, but he waits way too long. Michael's on the flank and puts a bullet in the back of his dome. Gimon going for the hot hand self-heal. This should be a save coming out from Sentinels. As you can see, they're starting to back off.
Yeah, just looking for any cheeky peeks from the back of the elbow. ShahZaM, he would like to come away with at least one frag. This has been a very expensive one for the Sentinels. You know, they had the weaponry online for this round, and now it's going to be out of their hands. And, you know, specifically coming off of, you know, a win, this will put some of the members' credits not in a very favorable position. I think, what is it, you only win, I think it's what, 1,900 or 1,500, something like that if you lose a round. So, not very good stuff here for ShahZaM as he's now just trying to escape, but it's zombs with the crossfire. They're going to find two, but it's player one that'll still end up being their demise. But pretty good way to end that round for Sentinels, considering how down and out they already were.
Yeah, but right now the scoreline pretty much accurately reflects the way that this map breaks down. Currently, the most even map in the rotation, if you're looking at esports level competition, out of 450 rounds recorded, I think it's like 51-49, something like that. So it's a very close map compared to others, which I think Haven's like 55-45, Split's like 64-36 or 65-35, somewhere around there. Obviously, much more favored towards the defense. Stats currently not really being tracked too much for Ascent, and it's hard to say. Some people would say it's attack-sided, but results in this event would obviously indicate otherwise at times, so it's really difficult. Looking at the scoreboard, you can see ShahZaM on top, and he's gone for the judge. Sinatraa, with that dart in his belly, he's going to have to back off. ShahZaM wanted to go up on top of that box to catch them off guard after intentionally watching his teammate get guarded. He's got the judge here. He gets spammed through. The hot hands goes down. That's going to force them back as they don't want to step into those flames for fear of taking extra damage. Great shock dart coming in there as well. Self-heal being popped by Gimon with the flame wall. They'd be wise not to over-push into this area. They can't afford to lose some of these guns.
Yeah, they're looking for another angle now. MkaeL going to be leading the charge from B long. Still haven't really reared their head through, and there's still an opportunity to hop through the portal and try to funnel in the other side, but that's rarely ever the case decision-wise. It's just going to be a relatively standard push. It's going to be Gimon that'll pick up that ult orb, and they'll actually use the portal. I was not expecting that. I thought they were just going to standard push their way through B, but it's Sinatraa that was actually coming in for the flank on the opposite side. There is going to be a tripwire that he'll be met with. He goes through the wishbone, and there's no tripwire there. That's the orbital strike that pushes Nick out into the open arms of player one, ShahZaM, waiting for them to funnel in through the showers. The judge working beautifully, but he gets smoked alive and sprayed down by player one. Just down to the last and final player. Sinatraa with a frenzy, and he's up against 4. Let's see how he does.
Yeah, ShahZaM with the judge there, going to get a verdict of not guilty. We thought for a second we were going to see that heavy judge play like we saw from the likes of TENS, but it doesn't work out so well for ShahZaM, only getting 1 as he tries to step inside that smoke in the showers. There's a molly burning on the other side, and the bullets pouring through are just too much for him to overcome. Sinatraa now on that long lurk. It came all the way around from B long, through the wishbone, back towards showers because of the tripwires that were down. At that point, everyone's dead, so it doesn't make too much of a difference. This is the big round coming in, though. ShahZaM 13-9, going for that operator purchase. On the opposite end, it's PL1, player 1, 14-6 performance. It's interesting watching his rise as a player, because he was a decent CS player when he played with this similar roster back in the CS days, but he was never necessarily the star, and then he stepped away from the game to focus on his education, came back for Valorant, and now he's having an excellent game in their opening match against Sentinels.
So I do understand that this map can be very playstyle based, but really the reason why yesterday's bind map against Immortals was so close is because Sentinels had a field day on defense, and then on attack they struggled. Immortals almost had the best of them there, and we're actually seeing that almost to be the case here as well. It's Gen.G fighting tooth and nail to keep their attacker side, or sorry, yes, their attacker side quite good, and it's actually proving to be a problem now that I'm realizing that Sentinels is on defense, and they're going to be going off to the side that they're least comfortable with. So we'll see what ends up happening after this round. Of course, this is the last one, and already Sentinels, they've lost Sinatraa.
You do have the Brimstone ult, the orbital strike. Smoke's going to go down from zombs. There's the run it back being popped by Guimond. We've seen him do this before. Dart in the belly of zombs means that ult is completely taken out of play. Sinatraa will get rezzed. As you can see, the Phoenix get close to that cyber cage, but doesn't push all the way in. Dapr gonna hit it once, puts a ping down as a result. Effys has to be careful as there is the op in heaven. Backs off far enough in U-Haul. ShahZaM is watching that line of sight currently. Guimond still in the showers. The retake trying to get through, but it's taking a long time just for them to gain access to the site. Two players now just coming over from B and joining them in the vents. There's the ult being popped from the Phoenix. They kind of lead them in, the tip of the spear. Sinatra's gonna send out some hot hands to burn someone out of position, but there's no one present. As he gets close enough to spot someone, the ult is gonna dial him back towards the vent. The opening kill on this retake by Effys. A trade out coming in from Sinatraa. Curveball around the corner. They're too far away from the spike. It took too long for this to come together. It will be the round for Gen.G as they take the half 7-5.
So, based on what we know when it comes to previous performances on Bind, and if we're running it back to look at the previous best-of-3 Sentinels versus Immortals, this is where the Sentinels really started to struggle. We'll see if they woke up on the right side of the bed this time around, and if they're capable of putting on some good numbers for the attacker side. But Gen.G looks like they'll be quite comfortable. They've got, you know, their own default setups. But we saw in the interview with Relics, there is something that they use called conditioning. They'll play the same side and then they'll just swap it around all of a sudden at the drop of a dime and really confuse their opposition. That is something what Sentinels does, and you'll see that time and time again for Gen.G. Let's see if they have a little bit more of a standard setup or they'll do quite the same.
Camera taken out.
Desperately needing to turn things around. They don't want to let Gen.G pick up steam the way that they have across the last 10 or so rounds. Early fights traded back and forth. Dapr taking down Huynh, but it's Guimond who comes back and brings things to a 4-on-4. The spike currently sitting outside of A short, where we've got Brim and we've got Cypher. So a less than common Cypher play playing over towards the A site. A lot of teams preferring to keep the Cypher towards that B site. We'll see how it works out here for the likes of Gen.G. MkaeL trying to peek past that smoke. Smoke's coming out from PL1 as well. MkaeL hears the footsteps next to him, knows that zombs has jumped up on top of the bench. The dart gonna give away the positions of these players in sight, and there's MkaeL getting gunned down by Sinatraa with the aggressive play coming through from the Frenzy inside the U-Haul. Back and forth these battles go. Guimond's gonna get flashed out by the other Phoenix and taken out by zombs as well. So now the spike's been planted and it's down to 2. PL1 with a nice shot, but that's all he's gonna get. It's all up to Effys. The Sage has the wall and might be thinking boost over it, but decides to just spray away at first. There's 2 players in U-Haul and one right behind it. We'll see what he can do.
You know, that's the one thing about the pistol. Walls are quite handy when it comes to the pistol round, considering how long it takes to break that wall down. They're just toying with Effys at this point. Great round for the Sentinels to kick us off, and that means that they've got the momentum now in the second half, and that means more than anything, considering how rough their attacker sides can be, especially on Bind. And for Gen.G, see what they end up setting up with. It's a 5-stack towards B. Looks like it's going to be a little bit of a Zerg rush as they'll funnel in through B short. On the opposite side, though, it will be what looks like Sick and Dapr ready for that push. They've got themselves... Dapr's got a Bulldog, but Sick is still opting in for the Ghost. That may prove to be a problem. He's full of utility, and it's going to be Dapr that has to stop this push.
That kind of blows up what it looked like their plan was. Thought we might see an aggressive 5-player peek from Hookah, and we do eventually, but they had to wait for that slow orb. And as they push through, they try to get too close. MkaeL will get gunned down by the support of Dapr, who's here with a Bulldog. Only able to get 1, so the pistol's producing some decent success early on, just trying to spill some extra blood. But they have been reduced to 3 on the defensive side. They're going to be taking that spike and heading back over towards the A side as they understand fully what's going on. ShahZaM still not feeling comfortable with this, wants to send the Al drone into U-Haul just in case there's one lurking around on the A side defense. Not going to be the case.
You know, if I'm Dapr in that case, don't I see 5 people? Don't I make the call out to go all towards A? I know that they were a little hesitant on that, still flooding through the market. Maybe thinking they would have pushed forward into the market. I know that's why Sinatraa kind of stuck around there just to see if anyone was coming. In fact, he's still checking it to make sure that that's not the case where they are pushing forward. The rest of Gen.G, though, huddled up around the defender spawn, ready for the push or potential exits. The spike's sticking down, and they need to make some action happen now. Shot's good from Sick. The Ghost is going to take GMD out of the picture. A couple more shots. It's Ghost v Ghost, actually, player one there with the Bulldog. And he's not going to be able to pick that up. Effys having to back away, Spike ticking down way too quickly. And a pretty decent round here for the Sentinels.
Not a bad round coming in, either on the eco coming in from Gen.G, looking to just kind of strip some guns away. And we've talked about it before throughout numerous events. This round is always the difficult round. If you're the team that won the pistol and the round that follows, the third round can be so punishing because your money is in this incredibly unstable state, especially losing players in that second round. So you have to awkwardly kind of ham-fist buy. So you're going to see potentially some gun drops with the SMGs that were brought in from the last round. You can see it's 3 rifles, but one's a Bulldog. So it's not even a full rifle. It's kind of like the little brother of the actual rifles. A deep orb coming out on long to prevent that orb play coming out. And Sinatra's just going to get aggro, wants to push up right inside this, is going to toss that curveball out. We'll see if Gimon times one for the same thing. He's right around the corner as the Phoenix. There's 3 players here. This could be a bit of a problem. There's the flash that leads them in, and it's going to be a bloodbath as kills go back and forth in each direction, but the wall comes in and prevents it from getting out of control. 6 going to get pushed back as the hot hands lands right on top of the orb they were trying to control, and that'll neutralize the play.
I like this aggression from Sentinels. We always see them fight for the orb. Not so much on the defense. We saw them play a little bit further back and give a lot more respect over to Gen.G, but this time around they'll fight for it tooth and nail just to make sure that they can get it. MkaeL deep in the smoke. Shots are good from Huynh as he'll take out zombs, but that spike's still going down, and it's up to the defense now to push back in. Sig playing close to the truck. Little does he know on the other side, there's a horde of Gen.G ready to push in, still biding their time as the spike ticks down. Using the buddy system to push in, they'll clear out U-Haul to start us off first. ShahZaM waiting on the other side as they've got a great crossfire set up. Unfortunately, though, ShahZaM's only got a Bulldog, but it can definitely work out here. Gen.G gonna be the one to fall. The big boost, Sick gonna be taken out, and they'll make sure ShahZaM has none of it, but it's Dapr on the other side. Another great crossfire. Down to the 1v2 now. Wall gonna be going down. And Effys at this point, I think he's just looking for ShahZaM. He's gonna push in aggressively. The shot is good. They'll have to go their separate ways in a round here for Sentinels. A very interesting one, but a great defense from the attack.
Yeah, I mean, a bit peculiar. You saw that early wall use. That actually kind of hindered their take. As you can see, the Sage in Sick was playing on the default position. Or not really default, I guess you'd call it short default, right in front of the APC. He didn't have that wall operating as cover, so he couldn't really put his focus elsewhere, but it was good crossfire positioning and good communication coming out from Sentinels that allowed them to pick up the round win. A bit of a clumsy retake in the end. The round started so well. It was read really well. It was a VOD review, if you ask me, kind of round. They've watched Sentinels play. They knew what to anticipate coming into that round. They expected that attempt for orb control on long. That's why they had so many players over there. Sinatraa this time around is waiting for the push to come through. Switches to the sidearm with just 4 HP. He'll get the heal from the Sage. Gimon on the back end of the play, pushing down from mid. Has the Sage there to back him up with an extra heal. Shock Dart coming in. Does significant damage to Gimon, who already wasted that Sage heal, but it doesn't matter. It's coming down to 1. It's going to be Effys in a 1-on-3, and all 3 players currently have their ult.
Effys was able to save the Vandal from the previous round, so he was really the only one that was looking to gun out anyways. Still 2 down for the Sentinels, despite it being, of course, the eco. Effys going to find himself a handful of Sick on the other side, is still trying to check his corners carefully, but looks like safety's in the wishbone after all, just making sure that he stays alive this round, not really giving too much over to the Sentinels. Of course, they will have enough credits to buy in the upcoming round, so Effys not trying to make it more difficult than it needs to be, but it's the barrel juke from Sinatraa. Peeks with the barrel, steps back, and then swings. That's some good Valorant right there.
This could be the turning point for Gen.G in the second half. They need to pick up a win here. They needed to win this map because Ascent is not a good map for them. It's not a map they play a lot, and it's not a map they win a lot. So, I mean, Gen.G realistically losing this map could be staring down the barrel of a 2-0 loss to Sentinels. That would be a bit of a problem. So they need to turn things around now. Again, they go for that 3-player long setup on B, trying to lock down that orb, maybe anticipating that attempt for long control, or just wanting it themselves. You've got a very similar setup to what we saw last time. You've got Gimon right around the corner with the curveball, ready to pop it off. You've got the Sage in sight, spotted by the Owl, so that'll give away the position of at least the healer. But Dapr can't move up too far as the slow orb is down, and it's hindering his ability to move up closer. The spike is still back in deep mid, so they haven't really fully committed to this at all. If anything, they could just be baiting to keep these players on the B site while rotating over to A.
Man, Relic's there with the big brain. It's all about that conditioning. It's, of course, the VOD review, but now that they see Sinatra's over towards that A site, it's going to be what looks like a take. The smokes are down. They're looking for that spike to get down as well. But it's MkaeL who's deep in the smoke himself. Orbital strike as well to layer on. That hurt, but it's still that spike that needs to get planted. Sinatraa going to be the one that picks it up. He's got the wall to protect himself. They've got an orbital strike of their own, but not really sure what it's clearing out. Would have been much better used to push it back towards heaven. The shot's not good from Huynh as Sinatraa jumps over to safety back into the cubby. And the pings come out. They know where he is. Running back here used by GMD. The curveball. Actually, no, it's the hot hands. And then the curveball as Huynh gets flashed out. And now it's safety here for Sinatraa. Player one going to be the one that takes him out. Player one with two. Just the A short. Not going to cut it for the Sentinels. And finally, Gen.G, they're back on the board.
It was more of a zoning ult, kind of keeping them away from the site more than trying to inflict punishment or damage. If somebody's in that location, they're going to have to run to default right to where you guys are already sitting. So I understand the play. It wasn't about trying to actually take somebody out of the equation. It was about keeping everybody out of the site. If somebody had dropped down from heaven, they're going to die to that. They're either going to be rushed in and maybe they get one and get traded out, or they get none. So solid round coming in from Gen.G, exactly what they needed. 3 ults still available for Gen.G as well. You've got the Neural Theft, you've got Resurrection, you've got the Hunter's Fury as well. You've got Hunter's Fury on the defense for ShahZaM, who has to go down with light armor and a Phantom. No Operator coming in for ShahZaM this time around. We'll see how that impacts the play. Huynh's going to have his op, and he's got it trained currently towards the showers. They're lopsiding this defense back and forth. One round, there's 3 players long. One round, there's 3 players hookah.
For the side of the Sentinels, they just love to send those feelers out and see where everyone is playing. A lot of respect to what could possibly happen, and it's the information game for them sometimes. The refrags as well, it's the res that they're trying to get and fight for it as Sick goes in, but it's the hot hands that'll have to force him back out. Of course, he's back up to full, but very interesting push towards Hookah. They'll even use the Hunter's Fury there from afar, and he will actually take out ShahZaM from a distance. Gen.G making it a very rough round for the Sentinels.
Huynh currently on A as well. Going to send a dart into the showers. Going to reveal the position of that player. Knows there's one here. Tries to send a shot through the wall. He's behind a second wall, so it's not really going to connect on much. zombs, the last player standing. They know his location, and they're going on the hunt. We'll spot the first one on short. Michael not strong enough to win that exchange, but zombs is down on 11 HP, and the remaining members of Gen.G want to potentially punish. They also don't want to lose that money. They don't want to risk lopsiding their cash any worse than it already is. Great play coming out there with the Hunter's Fury, a peculiar bait res inside Hookah. I look at that one, I'm like, all right, come on, man. What did you really think was going to happen? I know what they're trying to do, but it just felt like it was an awkward time to go for that play.
Wait, this could be very scary. Does he not hear them? Does he not hear them? That was a herd of wildebeests running down the alley there. I'm not really sure what was going on there.
You play with sound in 2020? What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Listen, I got my audio card in the mail, ready to install it. No, I'm just kidding. But tied us up 9-9. This is exactly what we saw yesterday from Sentinels and Immortals. A very close back and forth, but quite honestly, it doesn't feel as competitive as that previous best of 3. It feels more like Sentinels are trying things and Gen.G just have an answer. You know, they're prepared. They are able to stop the pushes forward, or they're able to figure out what are these wacky plays before they happen. Little jiggle peek there from Sinatraa, but he won't get taken out.
So that's one of the things this team I don't feel like currently has. Huynh is a competent operator player, but not necessarily as flashy as the likes of ShahZaM or Wardell or even Tens. So he misses that early shot, but he makes up for it on the fallback. The problem is now they've lost site control, so they're going to go ahead and try and secure that plant on the front side of the truck, and they get it off. So it's going to be a 5-on-3 retake. They do have the Neural Theft available there for Dapr. Molly's going to come down to his back site. Michael's not really having to worry about that one, can just sit back behind it. Dapr stuck back behind this wall, trying to find an angle towards the U-Haul, but he's only got a stinger, so from distance, this thing isn't really going to work out so well, and his body gets bopped into the portal as well. 10 rounds now on the board for Gen.G, who's doing kind of what they did in that first half, right? They started out a little slow, they lose the pistol, they don't do so well, but then they turn things around, and they start to take control.
To be quite honest, you know, if Gen.G were able to be in the form that they are right now when they fight for the pistol in the first two, you know, in the first rounds of each half, then I feel like they would be an insane team. It does look like they get revved up as the half continues, and they're like, okay, now we've got our footing, we've got our foot in the door, we can continue to playing. But why does it take so long? Why does it take them some time to get revved up? And because I feel like they could just have some 13-5 maps instead of keeping it as close as it is.
So this is what we needed to see. We talked about it. We needed them to do a little bit better on bind. Aggressive play coming in from Sinatraa and from Dapr. They go 1 for 2. Works out better for Guimon, who's got one target right around the corner. Has run it back available. Doesn't pop it. Zombs is there and wins that exchange. Down to 72 HP. They do have the Sage in play.
Wow.
MkaeL taken out on the back line by Sick. That Sage we were just talking about. PL1 is still in position. Uh-oh! Tries to find a corner. Not good enough. Gonna have to go out just a little bit further. And now it all comes down to this. It's Huynh, the Sova, in spawn with the operator. I think at this point it's a save. You don't want to give them that gun as a free upgrade. It's almost impossible to win 1v3.
You know, at this point, the Sentinels, they love to hunt. That seems to be their favorite pastime. If they have the opportunity, they will try to flush out and take him out if they can. Sick, though, he's playing the angle game. He's ready to just hold that A key and peek. Unfortunately for him, Huynh actually even knows this. He knows that they like to hunt, so he's making sure to check his 6. No one's at the rear, so... Like you said, going to be the save here for Gen.G, but it's tied back up 10-10. And if this even goes to Game 3, if we see 3 back-to-back-to-back overtimes, I don't even know what to say about the Sentinels anymore. They just seem to always just take it to the edge, and they come out on top. But this is a different team. This is an Immortals. So for Gen.G, they have the opportunity to clean this up now. Don't know what their economy looks like, so I'd love to see the scoreboard, see where we're at. As we are nearing the end, the economy is really going to start to play a factor. But around on the board for the attack means they probably have some credits to spend.
Yeah, the unfortunate nature of the scoreboard currently in the second half is a bug. Seems to have some weird success rate where occasionally if you hold down the scoreboard switching halves, it works fine. But if you don't and you do, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you end up with just one player on each side. It's really weird. Not really sure what's going on with that. That ult coming in from the attack was brilliant. They knew there was a player on site. He either gets away from the ult by running into that corner or he dies. There's no winning that scenario. He has to run away from the site. He just can't realistically. It's a perfectly placed ult given his position. There's again aggressive play coming out from Sinatraa as he dives out of hookah. ShahZaM is there as well to take down PL1. You've got Effys now who's stuck here in this position. Needs to fight his way out. Tries to reserve ammo, going with a few tap shots first onto Zombs, but can't win against Sick. It'll be a 2-on-3. There's already one on the site working their way towards elbow. Well, now that position's blown up as the neural theft gets popped. Huynh looking for a line with that operator. Going to send out a recon dart. No, it's a shock dart first to try and take down the planter potentially. Owl drone going in first. Might be able to locate that player hiding inside the tuna can. No dart going to be sent into the belly. A recon dart will connect with MkaeL though as he makes his way out from spawn. Huynh is there with the quick flick. Camera taken out. There's one right around the corner sitting in front side sight. Right around the corner he goes and there's Dapr waiting. 11 rounds now for Sentinels. 1 up over Gen.G taking the lead back.
Okay, so we do have the scoreboard. Okay, so based on what we know now, it is obviously the forced up here for Gen.G. It looks like they will have credits to spend regardless. Win or lose, they will continue to have the economy go up. For the side of the Sentinels, very important for them because they are nearing the end of their lifeline loan that they have. Some members really spending everything that they have this particular round. So important for them to continue to win, but only 3 rounds remain until we potentially go to an overtime. And it's Gen.G that don't want to take it there. They just want to close things out now. Sentinels, of course, they've got the round lead. And if they win this one too, it is dire straits for Gen.G.
Here goes Sick potentially into the site. just sneaking through that brim smoke, getting into that corner. Wall's going to go down. There's the ult coming in. That's going to isolate Sick. He's alone right now, but they don't realize that he's sitting in this corner. They're going to continue to use that utility towards Long. Sick starts to send some damage towards Effys, who has to go up into Hookah to fight against Sinatraa. So they've now lost 2 players on this tank. It's all up to PL1, getting spammed away at as the run it back gives away the position. There's the double peek. Excellent round. It's save time coming in from Gen.G. The remaining 2 players running towards that A site looking for safety.
Man, the Sentinels are fearless. When you are 3 on a site, and there's 2 pushing from both sides, and they are sprinting in full sprint, what do? Of course, utility is there to stop them. Utility is there to make sure that they don't push any further. But when they're brute forcing their way through, not taking no for an answer, using all of their own utility, in some cases, on a map like Bind, you'll have Sinatraa use run it back, push through, use all his utility, and then the rest of the team has a lot of utility left for the retake. But in this case, there wasn't even a retake to retake. They just pushed through, and they were able to find all the frags that they needed. And Gen.G were just kind of like, well, how do we deal with an attack from both fronts when we've set up in Hookah? 2 in Hookah, 1 in the Tuna Can, and the team that pushed in from Long, they were able to deal with members in Hookah from behind, and the member in Tuna Can who's just stuck in there, not able to peek.
I'm liking the Phoenix play currently from Sinatraa, and it's something I want to see more of. During the early stages of this team, exclusively played Sova. Seems like he's load balancing right now between a little bit of Sova, but mostly favoring the Phoenix. When they move over to Ascent, he'll probably be playing that Sova role. That's what he's done currently with the team. But I really like the way he's playing the Phoenix. You know, you mentioned just kind of playing like hyper-aggressive, taking the fight straight to their faces. There's the scoreboard as well, 19 and 17, tied with ShahZaM, who's got 2 less deaths.
You're dead.
But there's the run it back being popped this time on the defense. It's Gimon. And this is maybe a little bit lackluster compared to the way that Sinatraa used it. He's looking for that intel, pushing through short. Doesn't spot much as the players had already pushed back far enough to evade that. And you can see some pings coming down there, kind of indicating that there could be someone in that location. Effys has to evacuate from Hookah, and it's a good call and good timing as there's players waiting right around the corner.
One of those things where sometimes pulling back is you're not admitting defeat. You're playing it safe and you're playing it careful. Of course, they get the res onto Sinatraa. They're still fighting for control of Hookah as they get him back up to speed. And it's just a quick call over. You have Dapr throwing utility, making them believe that there is going to be an execute. Gonna even drop the camera to see the rotations through just so he can see somebody crossing over towards the defender's spawn. And on the side, it's MkaeL. They take out GMD, but it's MkaeL with 1. He's gonna find 2. Quickly taken care of by Sick, though. Spike needing to be picked up and planted. It's down to the 3v4, and it's Huynh in heaven.
Not win here with the operator up in heaven, looking over that wall. But in classic fashion, no peeks coming out here from the likes of Sentinels. Huyhn's going to send down the recon dart, trying to spot them out. First one to take the fight is going to be Dapr. He's got Sick waiting right around the corner. First for Sick, but traded out immediately. The res coming through as well. Recon dart coming out from ShahZaM. Has a lineup with the Hunter's Fury. They're trapped inside U-Haul, and they desperately need to get towards the site, but he doesn't use it for the spike. So they've already been sticking the spike at this point, likely to be defused any second now. Gets 2 kills on the attempted stop. The spike's already been defused. Huynh already wins the round there. Forces us to this final 24th round. Either it's going 13-11 in favor of Sentinels, or we are going to overtime.
I just want to point out that ShahZaM opting in for the Phantom purchase instead of the Operator this time around. They all have plenty of credits, even if they want to buy for each other. And so, real testament to how they want to play this round. Up close and personal, and let that fire rate really sing. No need for the Vandal, because they don't want to play at distance. They want to play up close, and they want to get up into Gen.G's face. We've seen that work before, and we'll see if it works this time around. This could be it here for Gen.G, or they take us to overtime. And it's the setup that we've seen before. Dapr playing towards mid, making sure that those early peaks and flanks are averted early. Shot here from Huynh as he tries to stop Sick from pushing forward. And really, that's the type of aggression that you need. You can't let them push on both fronts. So far, it has worked, but they are still determined for having a double two-pronged approach.
Curveball being popped there by Sinatraa. We've seen it used time and time again as the initiator for attack. Nice shot coming out from Huynh. The orb pick up by Sick, trying to get away, takes the port and gets sent back towards the A site. He's alone over there. The rest of the team is currently grouped up around B, so he's going to have to shuffle his way on through spawn to try and regroup with the rest of the squad, unless they decide to fall back on this. You can see them currently sitting back a little bit further. There's the ult being popped by Huynh. That could be considered an informational ult, as nothing is coming through on the pings. Gimon playing aggressively in Hookah with the slow orb, fire and ice approach as the hot hands lands the ground. It's going to make it difficult for them to gain access, and again, another slow orb flashbang around the corner as the curveball comes out. They've brought things down to now just one. It's zombs, the Brim, with the ult and the spike, but 4 players remain on the other side. It looks like we are going to overtime.
Yeah, there's not much that you can do at this point. Huynn's going to peek, tries to clear all his angles, but it's going to be Effys from behind. Very rough round. Gen.G played that exactly right. Held the choke point no matter what, at all costs. Making sure that they hold on to Hookah. Do not give them control. That is how Sentinels win. It's a game of inches, and they'll take miles and miles if they can. And for the side of Gen.G, they made sure not even a millimeter was taken. And now it's overtime. This is the opportunity for Gen.G to prove that they are better than the Sentinels and that they can take us to map 2, map 3, whatever they need. But like you said, it is going to be, I believe, Ascent next, and that is not something they are generally comfortable with.
Yeah, just in case anyone's curious, the old overtime is what's live currently, as the new overtime is currently bugged. So not really something that we can use. We're kind of handcuffed there. So it is sudden death. PL1, MkaeL, Gimon, Huynh, and Effys have fought back to this point. 12-12, forced it to overtime. They have to win one more to take map 1 before they tread on over to Ascent, a map they have an absolutely terrible record on. Not a map that really favors them at all. Sentinels very likely to pick that one up.
I didn't quite catch the scoreboard earlier on. I don't know if Huynh actually picked up the operator, and if he did, that means that he only has light armor and very little utility. We've seen how important he can be in gathering some of those information pieces earlier on, but it's the rest of the team that are very likely loaded with assault rifles, ready for utility pushes forward. The push is good. Sick is going to be taken out, and it's already a great start, but it is Team Sentinels that are ready for the push towards B. They're actually already on the site, and it's really difficult for the defense to figure out what the hell is going on. Now it's just down to the 3v3 spike going down, and it's the rest of Gen.G that are held up back in the defender spawn. They are all together. Operator from Huynh, I can see the outline of the weapon, means he has no utility except the recon bolt in 10 seconds. And that can be very crucial if you wanted to owl drone, if you wanted to push this together. In fact, they will just use their own bodies to push together. Great setup from Dapr. He's got the camera up just to see if anyone decides to peek. Shots good with the recon bolt. Spots out the member in Tunican. Then it's MkaeL that'll take him out with the penetration. Still down to just 2 members here for Sentinel. ShahZaM going to be holding wood. Dapr playing elbow. Shots are good. ShahZaM going to find there one for the refrag. Still 2 more to go. And it's MkaeL with 3. Gen.G win map number 1 on Bind.
I mean, they took that one down to the wire. About, what, 2 seconds left? Yeah, 1.76 on the defuse as well. Great round coming in from Gen.G, but did that take look familiar? That's the exact same take that we saw from Gen.G in that first half. The flame wall with the Phoenix to get out of Hookah, throwing the curveball through to peek towards long. Very identical play coming out there, but it doesn't produce the same success for Sentinels in the end, as Gen.G surprise us with a comeback after looking a little bit rough at times. They end up taking the first match.